Good afternoon, my dear listeners, and welcome back to the CSA Cafe, where we talk about controversial topics about everything, anywhere, about anyone. As always, I'm your host Ash, and today's sip is coming in hot, so grab your favorite drink, book, and get comfy. Okay, I'm joking. Hi, everyone. Um, you might have been surprised why I decided to come back after such a long hiatus. Truthfully, I think I'm still on a hiatus because I your host has gone AWOL, and I have a perfectly good explanation for that. um this is not going to be your formal podcast episode. I just thought to do the normal greeting so that I get everybody's attention. I think this video is going to be a very honest and transparent, truthful update on what's going on with my life, why I've disappeared after only 2 episodes when I literally just launched this like the past September, and then I only did like one other episode, and then I felt like I disappeared on the face of the earth. Like, where'd Ash go? I guess full disclosure, first of all, out of all the episodes, although I only done two, but out of all the episodes I've done, really, they were following a script because I get really nervous I when I'm when I consciously know that I'm being recorded, I am recording myself or otherwise. I thought that scripts would help me so that I wouldn't be stuttering so much, but unfortunately, because I'm such a perfectionist, and even though I have it all entirely written out, I stutter more than I think I do with the script. So this is me going off script, and this is me actually not even off script. This is me going with no script, and surprisingly, I've been doing so well so far, and I'm only 2 minutes in. I Having a script helps me formulate better in terms of what I want to say for the episode, and that it makes me make sure that I don't mess up, I guess, and I know that I'm gonna be fine because, oh, I've written it all out and I can just follow it word for word. This is me experimenting without a script, and I'm actually doing okay. I'm still a little bit nervous. As you can see, I'm still pausing, still kind of stuttering, but compared to my two videos, I'm not having a lot of pause breaks, and it's not as quiet. Because if you listen back to my other episodes, I was very I was basically dragging myself because I was that nervous, and because I've never been a podcast host ever. I've never done anything solo in my life. I've never done anything of that sort. And so if I just wing it, because that's truthfully that I'm doing, if I'm winging it, if I'm treating it informally as if I'm talking to my friends, I'm sure that I have fans that don't mind how I speak, even though I myself don't really like it, and I'm not very comfortable being recorded, being on camera, being showing my face, that kind of thing. Um, I I wanted to say that the reason why I've been AWOL is not because, oh, I've, stopped this passion project of mine of, I don't want to be a DJ anymore, and I ran out of things to say, because truthfully, I have a whole entire Google Docs of like almost up to 20 episodes. Like, I've written out 20 episodic ideas that came to mind, and none of them have a complete script written out, because I keep thinking, okay, I got the ideas, okay, I write it down, but I never get to finish the script. So I always keep thinking, okay, I'm never going to get this episode out there if I don't finish the script. But that's not true. Even if I write a little bit of it and I have plot points, maybe I should change it. I will have plot points. That would probably guide me better knowing what to say if I just put it in bullet point notes, and then I can just wing the rest of the way through. Because I think what the issue is that I decided to write an entire drama dialogue script of like Google Docs so that I can say it word for word, and that just stressed me out. And then I think the other thing that stresses me out, the reason why I stopped and I went and I disappeared, is because not only do I have to come up with an idea then write the script, is I think it's because I'm new to the YouTube world and I don't know how editing really works, given that I'm an old millennial. Is that me having to, like, I think me just uploading it, I think it would be fine. But then I think it's because I want to be accessible and I also want to put subs on all of my videos. Just lo and behold, if I have listeners that don't, like, they're hard of hearing like I am, they can read what I wrote instead of listen to me, because I understand how hard it is to have auditory processing disorder and you can't hear anything, and or if you're in a loud environment, or you can't hear me at this current moment and you have your earphones on, at least there's something for you to read at the bottom of the screen. You get what I mean? So then I think it's me having to sub my content, and knowing how much I talk, I can get really... we can get annoyed at our own voice, like repeating and listening over and over so that we get the subs synced and correct and spelt right. I think that's the only other thing that's also stressing me out that made me stop recording podcasts. But I also had this thought, I'm like, what happens if I don't sub it and I just upload it as is, as like a listening audio thing only? But then again, that will make me not accessible, which is not who I want to be. Because even if I'm not good at editing, I at least know how to put on subs, and I want to be accessible to all my listeners. So, yeah. But I think now I have an idea of how to move forward, and so going forward, there will be the episodes coming back out. Knowing how slow I am in nature, however, it's still gonna take some time for it to be fully published online for all of you to listen and or watch it. Because other than me stressing out on how I wanted this vision to look like, I've also was dealing with other stressors in my life, such as family life, and then there was me thinking about going back to school, and then I was also dealing with work, which I also thought I was intentionally fired because I was not being called back to work, so I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know how to navigate my life. I was falling down back into my depression rabbit hole, and dealing with mental health issues, learning and relearning new things about more of my undiagnosed ASD condition. And then I found that my bestie has looked up something for me on Instagram, and I immediately signed up for the sessions, and it was an 18 plus peer support group for ASD adults, and so that's what I've been doing as well. And the past Wednesday was the first session, so I was focusing on that. But I think the biggest other major stressor was me applying back to school after so many years and waiting for a result, which is still, by the way, not out yet. But because I was not coming back online, I drowned myself in watching TV a lot to make my worries and stress go away. So that's also what I was doing. Other than the fact I'm also spending time with my partner. We've been talking a lot, and she's been making me feel better, and we've been sending photos and videos to each other, and and just I was spending time with her, and so that's another reason why I've been away, is because I'm spending time with my partner, amongst all of the other things that I've been doing. Um, Speaking on my partner, um, it's supposed to be a surprise. Um, I don't know if we're gonna kick this off right, or if we're ever going to make it happen. But remember when I said that this is gonna be an audio only channel with the exception of watching subs only and maybe like slapping my logo on the screen, that's it. I guess you'll be seeing a face reveal from me sooner rather than later. And I did say I was not comfortable doing this, but my partner pitched in an idea saying that she wanted to kind of, I guess it's like a test run, do a podcast, a joint podcast thing with me, or like start a YouTube channel with me together. Um, I don't know how that's gonna work, or if we're gonna get it. If we're going to get it right, um, because we, I, yeah, we have a lot of topics already. We were brainstorming just the other night on what to talk about and what to say and how we want it to look like. But I was saying, I mean, since I have a channel and it's kind of set up professionally and I got like a logo and everything and I revamped it, I'm just like, why don't we treat the joint podcast thing to be on my channel, and maybe have her as like a frequent guest, pop in here and there whenever we're free, because I did have one of my visions as a podcast host, not only me just speaking to my listeners, but like I did mention I wanted it to be like a true podcast and like maybe get people on the show and get interviewed or have other guests on the show and talk about things to make it more interesting, so it's not just me blathering for like half an hour or so. So that's nice. Again, this is supposed to be a surprise, but you know me, I can't keep surprises. And as I mentioned, this is gonna be super super transparent and honest with, and out in the open, as that's my kind of motto of this podcast, is literally being transparent, honest, open, and quite frankly controversial because this is the controversial podcast cafe, right? And everything's up for debate, discussion, open table, that kind of thing. But yeah, you might be able to see her, and I'm excited. I think the big shout out to her, for honestly kicking my back to come back, and restart this podcast channel in the new year, because I honestly I didn't even think about it. I was gone for the entire year. I did an episode. The first episode launched September of 2024, and then I said I'd come back in October, but I didn't make that happen. So I came back shortly in November or something, and then ever since then, from November 2024 onwards, it's like I disappeared. And now it's January 31st, tomorrow's February, my goodness. Today's January 31st, 2025, and it's all thanks to my partner for helping me come back and make a comeback on this channel to start fresh. And hopefully with her help, she can boost my confidence even more and not be so nervous and make me not be so afraid to talk on camera, honestly, because I think I want it to be more natural, as if I'm talking to people who's like right in front of my face. I think having someone to talk to face and having that mindset that even if she's not there, I can just imagine speaking to her, and that would hopefully calm my nerves, and I can become more of a natural podcast DJ for all of you. And I hope that with our ideas that it would interest more listeners to tune in and kind of, I guess, make us a little bit more popular, make me a little bit more popular. And if my listeners want to see more of her after the first reveal, whenever that is, I can always work together with her, brainstorm, and see how we can manage our schedules to come together and talk to you guys more, of course we're going to go with the main theme still of us talking about controversial topics, but because she wanted to have a joint idea of coming together on my channel, making it a podcast for the both of us, it'll turn into like one of those vlog YouTuber videos that everybody else sees. That it'll be like it'll be a mixture of controversial topics, debatable topics, personal life, Q&As. This time is going to be literally anything the fans would like to hear about. Yeah. So I hope going forward everybody would be patient with me as I work through this newly revamped, again, channel, with a new direction, new insight, new mindset, new everything. It's the year of the snake. It's the year of the CSA comeback, and I hope that everybody will enjoy and like the new version of Ash. Still a little bit nervous, still kind of blathering here. See, when I get really nervous, I never know when to stop talking. But it's the new year. It's the year of the snake. For those that celebrate Happy Chinese New Year, 恭喜发财，恭喜发财，新年快乐. Yeah, and I wish everybody having a healthy, prosperous year. Until the next video. Look at me, look, I'm frantically trying to find my closing already. Here we go. Well, my dear listeners, that was a terrible, I'm sorry, that was a terrible, I'm sure you, before I go, I'm sure you have a lot of questions, and I want to say a lot more things, but I think I'm gonna leave that for an official video. I hinted it here and there if you want to go back and rewind, but I think it's going to be on an official episode where we get to talk more about it, and I know you're very, very curious as to knowing who Ash really is and how she is, what she has, and things like that. I guarantee you she will be back. For real this time, she will be back. It just takes a little bit of time. And with that note, well, my dear listeners, it's time to say goodbye. I hope today's tea warmed your stomach and satisfied your appetite. As always, I'm your host, Ash, and hope to see you again at the CSA Cafe.